And now, time to talk sports matters on CEMTV. Stay with us.
Sensational, absolutely sensational, sensational, and stadium is rocked. The All Blacks press forward with a driving run. White 5 for 3, it's good, a huge shot. The puck drops in this gold medal game.
The stakes are high, the weather is quite mild, but then the tempo is heightened. We're looking forward to the semi-finals of the ongoing FIFA World Cup in USA, Mexico, and of course Canada. But then we got some really interesting transfer stories making the rounds. All right, in as much as the World Cup is ongoing this every summer, there are quite some, stories making the rounds. And just so you know, FC Barcelona president Juan Laporta has ruled out any possibility of Rafinha leaving the club this very summer transfer window. And Bayern Munich remain confident they'll tie Harry Kane down to a new long-term contract despite growing interest from some of Europe's biggest clubs, with Tottenham Hotspur among the sides tracking his situation. And West Londoners Chelsea are keen to sign Real Madrid defender Alvaro Carreras, from their manager Xabi Alonso this very summer. And of course the Blues are keen to sign Real Madrid defender to ensure that they beef up the squad going into the new football season. And interestingly, Arsenal are attempting to get a deal for Atletico de Madrid's Julian Alvarez done before pre-season, as competition for the player looks to have regressed. He's been on the radar of several top teams, including Real Madrid, Barca, and of course Arsenal this very summer transfer window. PSG are also of interest. But then, let's tell you that Omar Mamouche is set for key talks with Manchester City over his future. Growing interest from England and Germany. We understand both Tottenham Hotspur and Newcastle are have shown interest so far. Meanwhile, ahead of their semi-final match at the ongoing FIFA World Cup this summer, Argentina have made a special request to FIFA about their kids ahead of the 2026 World Cup semi-final match against the Three Lions of England. And former Scotland striker Ali McCoist is in the news. He's ranked England as the third best team at the ongoing World Cup, and plans for a 64-team men's World Cup are set to be assessed after the 2026 tournament, with FIFA boss Gianni Infantino saying the event needs to be for the whole world. He says the FIFA World Cup is meant for the whole world. 64, it used to be 32, from 32 from the last edition in Qatar to 48 teams at the 2026 edition, and now we are considering a 64-team FIFA World Cup tournament. Isn't that interesting? Well, with that I say welcome to Sports 360, the World Cup edition, right here on CEM Television. And that may not the voice you trust, and that may you probably need. They call me Rex Patrick the Locker, that's homeboy that's never at home. I look around 247-365. I'm your host and guide. So before we look at stories making the rounds regarding the ongoing Mundial in USA, Mexico, and Canada this very summer, let's first look at some transfer stories. You know what? There are some stories making the rounds in as much as the FIFA World Cup is ongoing this very summer. Now we start off with Barca, because the president of the side, Juan Laporta, has ruled out any possibility of Rafinha leaving the club this very summer transfer window. He's been an integral part of the side, since the appointment of Hansi Flick as the head coach of the side. Laporta insists that the arrival of Anthony Gordon and Karim Adeyemi to Barca doesn't mean Rafinha is leaving the La Liga champions this very summer. Barca recently signed Gordon from Premier League side Newcastle United this summer. Of course, the La Blaugrana FC Barcelona are set to announce the signing of Adeyemi from Borussia Dortmund after reaching an agreement with the Bundesliga side for the player's transfer. He's such a real bundle of energy, and according to Juan Laporta, he said in his words, we do not want Rafinha to leave. He's a key player for us. The arrivals of Gordon and Adeyemi are not linked to Rafinha. It doesn't mean Rafinha is leaving. It doesn't mean he's leaving. According to Juan Laporta, FC Barcelona president, of course, Barca, they've brought in Gordon already and are looking to bring in even more quality players this very summer. Now, Karim Adeyemi is the latest addition to that La Blaugrana side. Remarkably, they are expected to go all the way and defend the La Liga Santander, in a 2026-2027 campaign. What's it like for the side one? Laporta, Rafinha, what's it like? Will he be missed? Paraventure, he's not certain about life right there at Estadio, the Spotify Camp Nou. Will he be missed by La Blaugrana? Clearly, if you ask me, I'll say yes. He surely will be. They'll surely miss him because, he's been like the go-to man. Even during the 2024-2025 campaign, he had more goals and assists than some of the most celebrated players at the start, like Lamine Yamal, and like that very campaign 24-25, Robert Lewandowski. His goals contribution were absolutely remarkable. Goals plus assists. But then we wait to see. Only time will tell. You know what? Let's now look at another story making the rounds. It has got to do with the Bavarians, Bayern Munchen. And guess what? They remain confident they'll tie Harry Kane down to a new long-term contract despite growing interest from some of Europe's biggest clubs, with Tottenham Hotspur, that's his former side, among the sides or the teams tracking his situation right there at Allianz Arena. Harry Kane needs no introduction. The England captain has enjoyed another phenomenal campaign, carrying his outstanding Bayern form onto the ongoing FIFA World Cup stage after helping the Bundesliga giants complete a domestic double, being crowned Bundesliga Player of the Year. Kane's numbers since arriving from Tottenham Hotspur in 2023 have been absolutely extraordinary. The 32-year-old has scored an astonishing 146 goals in just 147 appearances, cementing his status as one of the finest strikers in world football. He's such a real bundle of energy. However, with just 12 months remaining on his current contract, his situation is inevitable, attracting attention across Europe. Of course, we understand the Bayern have been in discussions with Kane's representatives for several months, and internally, there's little concern over the outcome. Sources close to the German champions insist it's viewed as a matter of when. If not, Kane signs fresh terms. It's just a matter of when, not if. Like a matter of when. Not a problem. New term, signing an extension, not a problem. He's got 12 months left on his current deal right there at Allianz Arena. That confidence has not stopped clubs from monitoring developments, though. Of course, Barca have been really, really keen to get his signature this very summer transfer window after, Robert Lewandowski left the side at the end of, last season. That's the 2025-2026 campaign. Now, let's move on to another story making the rounds regarding transfers, where we tell you that Adam Wharton's situation has shifted rapidly, after initially emerging as one of the Premier League's most sought-after midfielders at the start of the summer window. Now, clubs that had been preparing major investments in midfield have since adjusted priorities, and Crystal Palace's steep valuation has become the defining obstacle in any potential deal. Tottenham were among the strongest admirers, but after committing £185 million to Matheus Fernandes and Sandro Tonali, Spurs have stepped away from the race. Their withdrawal removes one of the key contenders from the market. So, Adam Wharton, sources have informed us that Liverpool have also called their interest. The Reds were ready to push past £70 million in mid-June, yet internal changes in recruitment strategy led to the move being paused. As Liverpool pursuit faded, Crystal Palace grew increasingly confident about keeping Adam Wharton right there at the side. Manchester United stance has similarly weakened. They've been deterred by the soaring fees attached to players in Wharton's profile. Crystal Palace are expected to demand a figure in line with Manchester City's £116 million deal for Anderson. A benchmark that has discouraged several suitors. But then he's indeed a fine midfielder. He's a fine midfielder, talking about Adam Wharton. He brings a lot to the table. But is he worth a whooping 116 million quid? Oh, goodness me. What's the window turning into? I understand the transfer window is inflated. But then, is Adam Wharton worth even up to £100 million currently? I mean, that's one question that needs answers. You know, some will say, oh, come on, this is laughable. What are they even talking about? 116 for who? Adam who? Oh, come on. Adam Wharton, you guys. In case you're wondering, he's a fine player. He brings a lot to the table. But then, a player is worth what the club, a player is worth what the club is willing to pay. Alright? So if he must get his signature, I mean, you just have to go all the way, go all out. 116 million quid for Adam Wharton, and that's why several suitors have shifted away. Yeah, several. But then Chelsea are interested at this material time. The Blues are interested. They are the front runners currently for his signature. Yeah, after Liverpool, United, looked elsewhere, decided to look elsewhere, looking at his valuation, and be like, oh, come on, how we can't pay up to 100 for Adam Wharton. Well, interesting times, and you guys, and that's a story. But is he worth up to that amount? Let's say even 100, not 116 million pounds, even 100 million pounds. Is he worth every penny? That's a question that needs answers. Anyways, let's move on to another story. Still talking about Chelsea. They are keen to sign Real Madrid defender Alvaro Carreras for their manager Xabi Alonso. The FIFA World Cup is ongoing. Some teams are being really busy and active in the transfer window. Some are seemingly cold and waiting to get some of the best players at the ongoing Mundial. Alonso, that's the Chelsea new head coach, or manager if you like to call him, in a manner of speaking, is searching the summer transfer window markets for a new left back after Marc Cucurella left the side for Los Merengues, and that's the Little Birds. I'm talking about Real Madrid. Call them Los Blancos if you like, and that's the Whites. Marc Cucurella is now the Real Madrid player, and now the Blues are desperately in need of a replacement. And they said they're not looking at Real Madrid to say, okay, come on, we gave you Marco Correa, you should give us Carreras. Well, he's a remarkable player, I tell you. Fantastic player, a real bundle of energy. Defensively he's solid. He's got some really good crosses and all. A key part of any side. But then we wait to see. Carreras worked under Xabi Alonso, the current Chelsea boss, during Alonso's time at Estadio de Santiago Bernabeu. I call it the White House, right there with Los Merengues, or Los Blancos if you like to call them, in a manner of speaking. So we wait to see if Carreras will be willing to work with Xabi Alonso, this time not in the Spanish capital but in London. Yeah, so West London precisely, Stamford Bridge. The former Bayer Leverkusen coach talking about Alonso was keen for Cucurella to stay at the Premier League West London side, but the Spain international decided to leave Real Madrid. According to what we've got, the Blues have made they've made a £21 million bid for Carreras to bring him to Stamford Bridge. £21 million. Isn't that laughable somehow? The report added that Alonso has instructed the Chelsea board to sign Carreras as he believes he is the ideal replacement for Cucurella at Stamford Bridge. It is yet to be seen if Real Madrid will allow the 23-year-old to leave Estadio de Santiago Bernabeu. Carreras' future at the White House, permit me, not in Washington, but in the Spanish capital, that Estadio de Santiago Bernabeu, because they are Los Blancos, the Whites, so I call it the White House. So Estadio de Santiago Bernabeu, they believe Carreras' future at Real Madrid is still not certain after Cucurella's arrival at the side. Regular game time is key for players. He's a young player and has got a lot in store. He needs regular playing time to boost his confidence and help him, get to a higher level. Help him get even better than what he's done so far since moving to a side. What's it like? Is Carreras a suitable replacement for Marc Cucurella right there at Chelsea? Is he really a suitable replacement for Marc Cucurella right there at Chelsea? Hey, you can be part of the conversation, alright? All you need to do is head straight to YouTube at CEMTVPLUS. Alright? Like the channel, drop a thought in the comment section. We'll have a second right here. We'll get to look at that subsequently, alright? So, but what's it like for you? Is that man talking about Carreras a suitable replacement for Marc Cucurella, who's having a great time at the ongoing FIFA World Cup? Talking about with the Spanish national side, with La Roja. Cucurella is a great guy. I mean, when it comes to left backs and all of that, so he's one of the most outstanding in his position, one of the most outstanding left backs in the world currently. So come on, he's having a great World Cup campaign, despite a not so good season with West Londoners, talking about Chelsea. So, but then again, is Carreras a suitable replacement for Cucurella? And Chelsea, £21 million for Carreras? Isn't that too? That's too cheap, isn't it? That's come on. Isn't that? Is it worth more than £21 million? What's your valuation of Carreras? Well, let's have a conversation. Find us on YouTube at CEMTVPLUS. That's how you get through to us, alright? Now let's move on to another story making the rounds, and we tell you that Arsenal are attempting to get a deal for Atletico de Madrid Julian Alvarez done before pre-season, as competition for the player looks to have regressed. Interesting times. The 26-year-old finally came alive in this World Cup. We saw that on Sunday morning, scoring the extra time winner for RB Celeste of Argentina in that 3-1 win over Switzerland with a brilliant calling long-range strike. He's been brilliant. Julian Alvarez, the forward, has been absolutely key to Atletico de Madrid. I mean, since he moved from Manchester City to Estadio de Wanda Metropolitano, he's been top. But then he wants to move away from the side, and he came out openly to say, well, he wants a new challenge. He wants a new challenge. Well, interesting times talking about Alvarez. He's open to an Arsenal move, but his preference had been to stay in Spain with either FC Barcelona or Los Merengues, talking about Real Madrid. Atletico are nevertheless insisted on not selling to either of the rivals, as reflected in a series of social media posts and stories being put out there on social media and what have you. They've been aggravated with the public nature of the campaigns both clubs have used. So I don't know, Paris Saint-Germain had previously been interested in his services, but amid a sense that there was merely testing the situation as they survey a range of options. But then, will the best suit Julian Alvarez at this material time? We will move on to the next story making the rounds and tell you that Omar Mamouche is key for talks with Manchester City over his future amid growing interest from England and of course Germany. Both Spurs and Newcastle are showing interest in Omar Mamouche. The Egyptian player has been really key and top for Manchester City since joining the side. The Egypt international has emerged as one of the more intriguing names to watch before the transfer window closes, after slipping down the pecking order during the second half of last season. Mamouche joined the citizens of Manchester from Eintracht Frankfurt in January 2025 in a deal worth close to £60 million, and initially made an encouraging impression following his arrival right there at Etihad. However, opportunities became increasingly limited under Pep Guardiola, who has left his position as the manager of the side. The 27-year-old started just 8 Premier League matches last season and spent much of the campaign among the solitudes, prompting a number of clubs to begin monitoring his situation. We can reveal that Tottenham and Newcastle have both made inquiries about the versatile forward, while there's also significant interest from several Bundesliga clubs who are keen to bring Mamouche back to Germany. He's a really good player, I can't even lie. His performances for Eintracht Frankfurt prior to joining Manchester City ensured he retained a strong reputation in the Bundesliga, and sources indicate multiple German sides would be interested if he became available to move. Despite that interest, Mamouche is not rushing towards an exit. Alright, he's not in a rush. Now there's a new sheriff in town. I'm talking about, former Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca. So he's looking to, win his place back into the starting X1 for the citizens of Manchester. But then we wait to see what happens at the end of it all. So from the Etihad, let's move to Old Trafford, where Manchester United have completed the signing of Andre Santos from Chelsea for £50 million. Andre Santos, this is worth, having a sip of water. Andre Santos, it's quite funny. This is quite fascinating, I tell you. The agreement is broken up into a guaranteed £48 million, a £48 million payment plus £2 million in potential add-ons. Chelsea will also retain a 10% sell-on clause. The 22-year-old Brazil international faced a battle for regular game time in the 2026-2027 campaign, given Chelsea will not participate in European competition. Now, this is what happened to teams who fail to make it to or qualify for major tournaments. You have such situations coming up because the players, come on, you are a top side, so you should compete at the very top level. His long-term pursuit of becoming a first-team starter at the club was further hindered by Moises Caicedo extending his contract until 2033 earlier this year. And now Manchester United wasted no time in jumping on that very situation, saying, oh, come on, Andre Santos, look at the midfield. You will do well. We want you. This is home for you. This is where you should be. You're sure of regular playing time. The environment under Michael Carrick has been quite smooth, and I agree with United on that note. Chelsea have lost yet another key player in Andre Santos on the backdrop of Marco Correa leaving the side. This very summer for Los Merengues, talking about Real Madrid. Interesting times. The World Cup is ongoing and teams are busy making some transfers, and it's a couple of ins and outs and all of that. Rumors, gossips, and all of that making around. So, well, now let's look at the gossip column regarding the FIFA World Cup that we got, because we get to see the World Cup hits the semi-final stage with a game starting from Tuesday. All right, but before then, Argentina will play on Wednesday. Yeah, England will be in action. Oh, come on, they get to play on Wednesday. England, Argentina on Wednesday, yeah? But before then, we'll get to see a semi-final match between France and La Roja of Spain. Alright? There are some stories making the rounds at this material time. Now let's tell you that Argentina have emerged as... Argentina have made a special request to the Federation of International Football Association, FIFA, the organizers of the ongoing FIFA World Cup in USA, Mexico, and Canada, about their kits ahead of their semi-final clash against the Three Lions of England. The current holders beat Switzerland 3-1 to book their place in the semi-finals of the tournament. La Albi Celeste will take on the Three Lions, who edged a 2-1 win over Norway in the quarterfinal of the ongoing tournament this very summer. According to what we've gathered, La Albi Celeste of Argentina have told FIFA that they want to wear their all-blue kit, instead of the blue and white stripe. Why? The world champions have worn their traditional blue and white stripe kits in all but one of their 6 World Cup matches so far. So they got a good point, yeah? And they'd be like, oh, can we use this? The only exception was when they faced Jordan in the group stage of the tournament. They are now saying to FIFA, please allow us don the blue and white. Let's not go with, white shorts and white and blue stripes as the shirts and all. We've done that for the most part of the Mundial. Well, wait to see what happens at the end of the day. Okay, now let's move on to another story. Speaking of the Three Lions of England, they are also in the news. That's England. Yeah, so the Thomas Tuchel are in the news, and that's because former Scotland striker Ali McCoist has ranked England as the third best team at the 2026 World Cup. Third best team at the tournament. Yeah. Okay, now we look at 4 teams left. It's the World Cup. We are now at the semi-final stage of the World Cup, so it's safe to say that we can say it's very safe to say England are easily the third best team. But let's look at the teams currently: France, Argentina, Spain, England. Because that's quite interesting. England's World Cup semi-final clash with Argentina will be seen on Wednesday. According to Ali McCoist, the Three Lions are behind France, who are the best team at the World Cup, adding that Thomas Tuchel's side are better than Argentina. That's La Abi Celeste of Argentina. Let's take a look at this really well. Argentina, the game against England will be like their first major test at the ongoing FIFA World Cup. I'm not saying this is not to say that, this is not to water down the efforts of several other teams who played against Argentina or who faced Argentina at the Mundial ongoing in USA, Mexico, and Canada. I'm not trying to water down their efforts, but I'm saying when it comes to the FIFA World Cup, when you look at the favorites going into the Mundial, pedigree, personality, and see, come on, Argentina have not really had a stiff test compared to Spain or France, or even the Three Lions of England. I think that's seemingly valid. So Argentina's first major test at the World Cup is the semi-final match against the Three Lions of England. It's been games against Switzerland, DR Congo, Egypt, what have you. Come on. But then they're through to the last 4 of the tournament. They gave a good account of themselves. There are no minnows. We've seen several upsets. We saw that at the group stages. We saw that at the last 32. We saw that at the round of 16. But hey, this is the semi-final stage. The boys have now been separated from the men. The men are one side, the boys are one side, and that's why you have England, Argentina, Spain, and France left as the last 4 teams at the ongoing FIFA World Cup in USA, Mexico, and Canada. But would you say England are better than? Would you say England are better than La Abi Celeste of Argentina currently at the ongoing FIFA World Cup? Would you rank them above Argentina, really, without sentiments? Well, there are no easy games, best believe. But when you think of Argentina, you'd be like, oh, come on. After France, it should be Argentina. But then Spain are the current European champions, and they've given a good account of themselves so far at the tournament. Interesting times. Let's move away from that now and tell you that, plans for a 64-team men's World Cup are set to be assessed after the 2026 tournament, with FIFA boss Gianni Infantino saying the event needs to be for the whole world. He's saying the FIFA World Cup is for the whole world. Why limited to just a few teams? While the world has got several countries. The proposal for an expanded tournament was put forward last year, and Infantino says the success of the expanded 48-team tournament means FIFA should look at how a 64-team World Cup could work. So he's talking about the success of the current World Cup. The success. And we've seen lots of controversy. Oh, come on. Not controversies. We've seen series of controversies at the ongoing FIFA World Cup. From 32 to 48 teams. Now we're not thinking about extending it or making it 64 teams, a 64-team World Cup. That's from 2030 in Saudi Arabia. FIFA. Interesting times, you guys. Yeah, at this point, it's just safe. And permit me to have a sip of this because I don't want for FIFA. I've got my reservations. Yeah, I've got my reservation because there are lots and lots of questionable calls. In as much as we've seen some really great situations, but hey, Infantino, Gianni Infantino is his name, the current FIFA president. You know, he's come up with a series of innovations. In his words, he said, and I quote, "There are all issues that we will be examining, you know, after the World Cup." Infantino, you know, according to him, interesting times. He says, if it's successful, the tournament would grow from from 48 to 64 teams. I think that when organizing a World Cup, it's important to organize it for the whole world, not just for Europe and South America, but effectively the entire world. Every nation should be allowed to dream of participating in the World Cup. Before I continue, let me take a sip because I've got Gianni. Is this coming from Gianni Infantino? The FIFA World Cup is not for European teams, not for South American teams. Yes, some teams from Asia, teams from Africa were, you know, wrongly assessed. Like the way they were being handled going into the World Cup wasn't right. Senegal, you needed to see the way the Senegalese team, these are top professionals, well-known professionals, were dealt with because they needed to go into some. See, you know what? Football is a unifier. First off, it brings everyone together. All right, football is no respecter of age, tribe, religion. Football, football has got just one voice. But so far at this tournament, the best referee in Africa, you know, yeah. So the best referee in Africa couldn't make it to the FIFA World Cup because he was denied entry. And this is a tournament organized by FIFA. The current best referee in Africa is not at the World Cup. He was invited officially. He was meant to take part, but he was denied entry because, according to the US, you know, saying he's from Somalia. Anyways, the referee is from Somalia. He says, there's a ban on them. They can't get visas and all. But these officers travel with certain kind of visas. They don't go. They're not just ordinary persons. So when you say the FIFA World Cup is for the entire world, have you been able to fix the common situation we have at hand? It is just a way of saying to the crowd, okay, let's us. Are we just saying this for the, you know, for saying sake, or they really mean it? We wait to see. You know, this very conversation would continue. Most likely tomorrow we'll look at, you know, these more in a different. Would look at this really well. I tell you for free. But then it's a good thing to have an expanded version of the World Cup to integrate more teams and all. But then, hey, so far the 2026 edition of the FIFA World Cup has, I mean, we've seen lots of controversy surrounding the tournament. So questionable calls, questionable decisions. What's it like? Well, would a 64-team FIFA World Cup be good enough? Would it help in any sense? Well, we'll talk more about that subsequently. But sadly, we can't go any further as this is where we get to put a pin. Been a great time with you out there. Believe me, you are the real MVP. All right? Been a great time with you. And but then, you know, I'll leave you with something quite remarkable. Yeah? Something quite remarkable, believe me. And it's got to do with, you know, a late heartbreak for the Three Lions of England, and that was against Spain. In UEFA Euro 2024. It's the highlights of that very encounter. Of course, the Three Lions will be in action. They got RB Celeste to whereabouts on Wednesday. Let's have a feel of how it really went down. Look at the group of players and how they intend to go into that very one. All right, so been a great time. I remember that the voice you trust and that mayor you proudly need. Call me Rex Patrick the Locker, and for now, it's a wrap.